Good morning and welcome to Morning Job, which is brought to you by our friends at the Get Go Cafe and Market, where breakfast combo is $3.99, including a sandwich, hash brown, and a small coffee.
And on top of that, you can get this month's breakfast deal, which gets you 2 breakfast bagel sandwiches for the price of $5. DK, I like anything with bacon in it.
I hear you. You know what people don't like around here anymore?
What's that?
The owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh, you don't say!
We're all over this, Carter. It's what we do here.
You've been all over it, man.
Enterprising thought at this venture.
Yes. I mean, basically right now, I think you were covering it in your article over the weekend. You know, this was supposed to be the big weekend that they were going to decide whether or not they sell on the team or pass on the team.
They decided that last winter. That's not even interesting. I mean, that's all been posturing since then. Carter, what I find fascinating about this thing, just stepping way back from it, there's just a broken bond. There's no trust between this city, between this fan base, wherever Pirates fans happen to be, and the people running this franchise. It's just gone. Can you picture anything at all like restoring it?
I can't imagine. I can't imagine they would have to pull off the craziest trades and rebuild a team that goes into the playoffs and goes deep into the playoffs. And there's just no way that's happening anytime soon. Right now, I mean, you had a team. And I mean, I'm a Pittsburgher, born and raised here. I wasn't old enough to remember the '92 days, but I grew up seeing nothingness of baseball for years. And I finally saw a playoff team, and it just got wasted away the way it did. And unceremoniously, I can understand that disconnect.
I told a guy who's covered the Padres forever, when I was out in San Diego last week at Petco Park, we were having a conversation in the press box, that if these Pirates won the World Series this year, not a single thing would be restored about the trust, the lack of trust.
That's an interesting point. I would agree with that, yeah.
Think about that. Carter, the Pirates have one All-Star.
Singular.
In the coming game in Washington, it's Felipe Vasquez. When this sort of thing happens, people will inevitably go to the debate, should all teams be represented in an All-Star game? What's your thoughts on that?
I think that it's a method that's kind of held its base over the years because MLB wants to make sure that every fan base has an attraction to watch the All-Star game. And to develop a sort of balance there. But I do think there comes a point where certain teams don't deserve to send a player, or just certain players don't deserve to go, especially when there's other players out there that are performing better than them. I think that the rule, if you can find a better replacement rule, is just the most votes or certain stats. Sure, I guess for right now, I guess it's worked because it's been tradition and it's tough to go against that.
Well,
but I think that it would serve if baseball found a different method.
I've gotten into the philosophical debate in the past. I covered the Pirates' 105-loss team in 2010 that had Evan Meek make it to the All-Star game. He was the Pirates setup man, and he did have a really wonderful first half, but he wasn't even the closer on the team.
Yeah.
And he looked like a terrible selection, whatever. And it turns out his career ended up being not much after that. So it doesn't look good. Same thing when a guy like Jeff Locke makes it because he has a good first half.
Right.
My ultimate answer to this stuff is that the All-Star game itself, the event, and not just in baseball, but across sports, none less so than the National Football League, I might add.
Don't get me started on the Pro Bowl.
That is just way off the radar.
Yeah.
It's just not that important.
Yeah.
Now, I can appreciate and respect where Francisco Cervelli thought it feels it's really important. Corey Dickerson feels it's really important. It's a real feather to have in your cap to be able to say forever,
I'm an All-Star.
All-Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you haven't been there before. Otherwise, man, represent them. Represent all the teams, Yeah. So, Carter, if NFL officiating was below most fans' expectations, and I think that's a fair statement.
Especially after last season.
What will it be since after last season, a handful of their very best referees, the guys who advanced the furthest in the playoffs, and, that's done on merit, presumably.
Presumably.
Those guys have left for jobs doing TV analysis, criticizing other refs, because that's become like the cool thing now. Everybody has to have their own guy in the booth who knows all the rules and can critique the refs.
Right.
Well, what happens when all the refs are just doing the critiquing?
Well, they want to get paid better. One thing that the NFL, remember, they don't have full-time referees. These guys are always guys that have other jobs,
right.
and they're coming in to do this on their spare time. So I've always thought that the NFL should do a better job with getting officials. They should have full-time people like baseball does, like other sports do, and bring.
Well, maybe if they made more money.
Yeah. But you're the NFL. I think you can spare some.
Joking.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know about the referees, but yes. But clearly, I think that that's an issue. As far as this upcoming season, I think that they want to reestablish that sort of trust that you were talking about with the Pirates. I think a lot of fans have started to grow tired of, especially when you saw with all the catch rules in multiple Patriots games, people were getting fed up with it. And then to see it play out properly in the Super Bowl with Ertz making the touchdown catch and he went to the ground while going into the end zone.
Yeah, but these aren't referees' issues.
What?
I mean, they were all after Al Rivera over this.
Right.
Don't forget, the guy at field level called that a touchdown for Jesse James.
Yeah.
Okay? So I think with referees, a lot of the anger that's vented at them really doesn't have anything to do with them. I think it has to do with an inconsistent application of the rules and interpretation.
But like we see in many things in society, it's a systematic problem. And who gets blamed for the systematic problems? The people that you see on TV the most. And those guys are the officials. I can understand if you're the officials getting tired of that.
7 rookies will be added to the class of 121 NFL officials. 7 rookies, and they can't all do the games that nobody watches.
Right. Penalty kicks. They're big in the World Cup right now.
Huge.
How big are they for you?
You like them, Carter?
No, I'm not a fan.
Why?
I think that generally the way you play your sport should be the way you end your game. I understand in sports like hockey where you have to do it because there's 82 games and
that's regular season.
Yeah, exactly. They do it in regular season. In the playoffs, it's gone. And I think that's the right.
So you'd
move.
never decide a football playoff game with a field goal?
Not by us. If you're doing a matchup of field goal versus field goal, no, never.
But basically, that's what overtime is in football.
No, it's not anymore because you get a chance for your defense and your offense to duke it out.
A field goal can still win the game.
Not by itself. If you
it can. No, because the second possession.
The second possession, yes. But that means your offense had a chance to win the game.
It's still lame.
And it's not as cool.
I don't want Adam Vinatieri or Scott Norwood deciding my fate as a football fan.
As the Bills painfully found out.
Let's not get pious and high and mighty over the way soccer settles it. However, I will say that I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm largely uncomfortable with it because shortly before I started this venture, I wrote a column for a newspaper about how easy penalty kicks look. Mm-hmm. So the Riverhounds, housed in this very building, challenged me to come and try to score on them.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. And
how did that go?
I got the last one in.
Okay, but you got the points. Okay, down there.
actually, like top left too.
Top. So how mad was the goalie?
I hit it. He was the Hounds' number 3 keeper, who was a great sport, who, by the way, should never have agreed to do this.
And he probably never heard the end.
Well, you know what though? I'll bet you the guy to this day tells everybody that he just let me score because he figured it was the only way the column was going to get written. And how else was the number 3 keeper for the Hounds ever going to get something written about him, right? So my point is, you look at it and it looks too easy. Mm-hmm. When you see the guy who is taking the shot kick the ball right down the middle where the keeper was because he knows the keeper is going to dive to one side or the other, it just has such an uncomfortably easy look for 4 years, every 4 years for an entire program for a small country, perhaps, that might never get another chance.
Right.
That's tough.
I think it's tough. You spend this entire game of strategy, moving back and forth, making sure you're protecting different parts of the field, working for the right shots, getting your man in front of the goalie, and then all of a sudden, none of that matters anymore. I think that's a problematic issue that makes me want to say, I wish that wasn't part of the sport because it's very enjoyable to see it play out throughout the game, and then it's like none of that mattered once you get to that point.
See, my solution for it,
what's your thought?
Presuming that anybody would see it as a problem, and bear in mind that the overwhelming majority of the planet does not see it as a problem.
Oh no, people love it.
Move back.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Because then you have more of a test of the shooter's accuracy and of the goaltender's actual reflexes. Right. So maybe now you'll see 1 out of every 4 go in, but it's going to be a hell of a shot that does it.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, it makes saves that much more incredible when you're seeing them. Oh, he read it. He made this move. I think that
for
incredible.
Me is where the parallel alters from hockey, where in hockey you come in on the half-rink breakaway.
And the goalie has a chance to read
make a move and everything else. Whereas the hockey version of the soccer shootout would be that the goalie's not allowed to come off of his crease.
Right.
And you're shooting from 12 feet away?
Right.
And basically picking your corner. Mm-hmm. That would be boring.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. Soccer's going to do what they want to do.
FIFA's not tuning in, neither are 7 billion others, unfortunately.